The school where the rock band Styx met over 50 years ago, Chicago State, has wandered from conference to homeless to conference to homeless, and now the Southside School has found a home yet again. The NEC moves from 7 to 8 members with the addition of Chicago State. The NEC addition of Chicago State should be seen in the context of NCAA bylaws, where bylaw 20.02.8.1 says a multi-sport conference shall be composed of at least 7 active Division I members. The member conference shall include at least 7 active Division I members that sponsor both men's and women's basketball. Which begs the question, what is an active Division I member? Well, the NCAA bylaws state that an active Division I member has to complete the Division I reclassification period. So if you have not completed that reclassification period, then you are not an active Division I member. And if we look at next year, 2024-25, CCSU, LIU, Wagner, Fairleigh Dickinson, and St. Francis are active D1 members, but Stonehill and Lemoyne are still in their transition. If we look at the NEC's 7th member, Lemoyne, their reclassification period starts in 23-24, which is this year, and the NEC has 7 active members, so they'll be good there. But then it lasts through 26-27, so there's 3 years where the NEC would not have 7 active Division I members, as Lemoyne would not become an active D1 member until 27-28. That brings us to the grace period. NCAA bylaw 20.02.8.5 states, a conference shall continue to be considered a multi-sport conference for 2 years following the date of withdrawal of the institution that causes the conference's non-compliance with the minimum multi-sport conference requirements. So we know a reclassifying member does not become an active Division I member until completing their reclassification process per bylaw 20.2.3.1 on the previous slides. So while the NEC can add Division II schools, that would not solve the issue of multi-sport conference bylaw compliance. So my interpretation of the bylaws was that the NEC needed an active Division I member to meet the requirements of a multi-sport conference in 2026-27 after the 2-year grace period expires. We look at the NEC's 7th member in Lemoyne. The first year of their 4-year reclassification process, 23-24, the NEC would be in compliance, so they're good there. But their 2nd and 3rd years, 24-25 and 25-26, those would fall in the 2 grace period years, so the NEC would still be good there. However, Lemoyne's 4th year of reclassification, 26-27, would fall beyond that 2-year grace period. So to put it all in a chart that's easier to understand, in 24-25, you have the 5 active D1 members, CCSU, LIU, Wagner, Fairleigh Dickinson, St. Francis. Then you have Stonehill in year 3 of their reclassification period, and Lemoyne in year 2. Now, the year 2025-26 would be the 2nd year of their grace period, where same thing, they have 5 active D1 members, and then Stonehill is in their final year of their reclassification process, and Lemoyne is in year number 3. Then fast forward to 2026-2027, and you now have 6 active D1 members, and Stonehill has become an active D1 member, but Lemoyne would not be an active D1 member as they're still in year 4 of their reclassification process. So the NEC would now be non-compliant in 2026-27 as they are beyond their 2-year grace period. So the NEC needed an active D1 member, and since they were presumably unable to recruit one from another D1 conference, that left the only D1 independent, Chicago State. While Chicago State isn't enough to make the NEC compliant during that 2-year grace period, Chicago State is enough, along with Stonehill becoming an active D1 member in 2026-2027, to make the NEC compliant as a multi-sport D1 conference. Therefore, Chicago State's value is as a warm body that keeps the NEC out of NCAA bylaw trouble. Here are the athletic budgets of the NEC per the Department of Education, Equity, and Athletics 21-22 school year. The top row is the overall athletic budget. The middle row is how much of the athletic budget is to athletically related student aid money. And then the bottom row is how much of their athletic budget is left over after you isolate that student aid money. The overall athletic budgets, LIU has the highest, followed by Wagner, St. Francis, CCSU, Fairleigh Dickinson, Stonehill, Lemoyne, and Chicago State. However, after you take away that student aid money, the highest athletic budgets would be LIU, followed by CCSU, then St. Francis, then Fairleigh Dickinson, then Wagner, then Stonehill, then Chicago State, then Lemoyne. However, it's worth noting that Stonehill and Lemoyne haven't yet adjusted their budgets fully to D1 as they're still reclassifying. Now, here are the men's basketball budgets. Ideally, you would isolate the student aid money from the men's basketball budget. However, the database doesn't have it on a per sport basis, so we don't know that information. LIU is the only NEC school with a men's basketball budget in the top 250 as they rank 167th in Division I. Chicago State's men's basketball budget ranks 343rd. Now, here are the 10-year KenPom rankings. Wagner leads the NEC at 266th in Division I. Chicago State is 354th in Division I. One question to pay attention to is Chicago State a contractual or permanent member? Chicago State was a full member of the WAC, but they were a contractual member. CSU's April 2016 Budget Committee meeting revealed that CSU was under a 5-year contract with the WAC. It says we are in our 3rd year of a 5-year contract with the WAC. Connecting the dots, we can assume that the WAC renewed Chicago State's membership after that 5-year contract expired in 2018, but did not renew the next time CSU's contract expired. Chicago State will be a full member of the NEC, but it's unknown if they'll be a permanent member or a contractual member, like that unusual arrangement they had in the WAC. While Chicago State is not an HBCU, Chicago State is a PBI, predominantly Black institution, and that can be seen in their tradition of playing the Black National Anthem before every home game. Chicago State will instantly walk into the NEC with the best stadium in the league. The 7,000-seat Jones Convocation Center was built in 2007 for $38 million. Chicago State was a member of the East Coast Conference, the ECC, in 93-94, along with future NEC conference mate CCSU. They were still conference mates with CCSU in the Mid-Continent Conference for a few years, and Chicago State would remain in the Mid-Continent Conference until it was renamed the Summit League. As Chicago State was effectively booted from the conference in 2006, the same year they played Oral Roberts for a trip to the NCAA tournament in the Mid-Continent Final. Chicago State would then resurface in the hodgepodge, no auto bid Great West Conference. And then the Cougars were able to join the WAC for 9 years, until the past 2 years where they've been an independent. And now they'll jump from the West Coast to the East Coast by joining the Northeast Conference.